Hey guys, today we are discussing about the layers of OSI model. OSI stands for the Open System Interconnection. It has been developed by ISO in the year 1984. It has a 7-layer architecture with each layer having the specific functionality to form. All these 7 layers work collaboratively to transmit the data from one person to another. Okay, now we discuss about the 7 layers of OSI model. Okay, the first layer is the application layer. The second layer is presentation layer. And the third one is session layer. Fourth one, transport, then network, then data link, and the last one, physical layer. Okay, now we'll talk about how data transmit from the upper layer to the lower layers. Now we have to talk about the first 3 layers, like on the application, presentation and session, the data transmitted in the form of data. Okay, so when we go from top to down, then we got to know about at the transport layer there is a transport header and data equals to segment. When we add the transport header to the data, it becomes a segment. And at the network layer, when we add transport header with the segment, it becomes a packet. Okay. At the data link layer, there is not just a single header, but we have 2 kind of things, like we have one header and one tail. So we have one data header plus packet plus data tail over there. So it creates a frame. At the physical layer, as we all know, the data transfer in the forms of bits. Now we first talk about the physical layer. The lowest layer of OSI reference model is the physical layer. It is responsible for the actual physical connections between the devices. The physical layer contains information in the form of bits, as we have discussed. It is responsible for actual physical connections between the devices. When receiving data, this layer will get the signals received and converted into zeros and ones and send them to data link layer. The functions of physical layer are bit synchronization, bitrate control, physical topologies, transmission modes. Okay. For these functions, we will discuss in further videos. The next layer is data link layer. The data link layer is responsible for the node-to-node delivery of the messages. The main function for this layer is to make sure that transfer is error-free from one node to another over the physical layer. When a packet arrives in a network, it is the responsibility of the DLL to transmit the host using its MAC address. The data link layer is divided into 2 sublayers, like the logical link control or the media access control. We all know the media access control by the name MAC. There are some functions that data link layer performs, like framing, physical addressing, error control, flow control, access control. Packet and data link layer is referred as frame, as we have discussed. Data link layer is handled by NIC, network interface card, and the device drivers of host machines. Switch and bridges are data link layer devices. The network layer, layer 3. Network layer works for the transmission of data from one host to another located in the different networks. It is also takes care for the packet routing, that is selection of the shortest path of transmit the packet from the number of routers available. The sender and receiver's IP addresses are placed in the header by network layer. As we have discussed over there, at the network header, there are the senders and receivers IP addresses placed. The functions of the network layer are routing, logical addressing. Segment in the network layer is referred as packets. Network layer is implemented by the networking devices such as routers. Now we should move on to the next layer, transport. Transport layer provides services to application layer and takes services from the network layer. The data in the transport layer is referred to as segments. It is responsible for end-to-end delivery of the complete message. Transport layer is also provided the acknowledgement of successful data transmission and retransmits the data if an error is found. The functions of transport layer are segmentation, service point addressing. The services provided by the transport layer are like connection-oriented services, connectionless services. Data in the transport layer is called segments. Transport layer is operated by the operating system. It is a part of OS and communicates with the application layer by making the system calls. Transport layer is called the heart of OSI. Now we should move on the next layer, session layer. This layer is responsible for establishment of connections, maintenance of sessions, authentications, and also ensures security. The functions of session layer are session establishment, maintenance, termination. The layer allows the true processes to establish, use, and terminate a connection. Synchronization. This layer allows the process to add checkpoints which are considered as synchronization points into the data. These synchronization points help to identify the error so that the data is resynchronized properly and end of the messages are not cut prematurely and the data loss is avoided. Dialog controller. The session layer allows two systems to start communication with each other in half duplex or full duplex mode. All the below three layers are integrated as a single layer in TCP/IP model as per application layer. Implementation of these three layers is done by the network application itself. They are also known as upper layer or the software layers. Now we should talk about the other layer. Which one? Presentation. Presentation is also called the transition layer. The data from the application layer is extracted here and manipulated as per the requirement format to transmit over the network. The functions of the presentation layer are translation, encryption, decryption, compression. Here compression means the reducing of the number of bits that needs to be transmitted on the network. Now we should move on the last layer, which is the application one. At the very top of OSI reference model stack of the layers, we find the application layer, which is implemented by the network applications. These application produces the data which has to be transferred over the network. This layer also serves as a window for the application services to access the network and for displaying the received information to the user. Applications like browsers, Skype messengers, etc. Application layer is also called the desktop layer. The functions of application layer are network virtual terminal, file transfer access and management, mail services, directory services. OSI model acts as a reference model. It is not implemented in internet because it's late invention. The current model being used is the TCP/IP model. We will surely discuss about the TCP/IP model in our upcoming videos.